So with this, we will start our first session on supply chain management. And as usual, our first session is always will be a very basic outlook, 30,000 outlook session, so that we just try to get and understand the supply chain management from the outside world without getting inside it exactly, so that we can do a deep dive in coming sessions. Supply chain management is considered to be a lifeline of industry. And why it's called lifeline? Because from A to Z, it covers all the operations from start to end in the industry. And no part of the industry today is away, or they're not using supply chain management. That's not the scenario. Supply chain management exists from years and years together and centuries together. The only thing which is there in the supply chain management is it is the most dynamic management stream, and which adopts the best practices, best technologies to reach the product to the customer as early as possible, as good as possible, and the total product cycle movement from the raw material to the final product to the customer is ensured that it reaches in the right time, it reaches the right quality, it meets the expectation of customers. So this is all about the supply chain management life cycle in the industry, and we'll start with very basic understandings and concept of it. A very basic and very simple diagram to understand supply chain. You can see extreme left, there is a raw material. This raw material could be from anywhere. It could be from farmhouses, from the agriculture industry, wheat grain, you can say, or it could be a mining also. If it is a steel industry, then there will be an ore, iron ore you are getting, that is the raw material. So raw material is the first product essentially required, and the raw materials could be more than one, by the way. So that is the first thing essentially required to make anything, that is called raw material. Then this raw material is supplied to the manufacturer through a supplier. So supplier goes to farmer, take his wheats and give it to factory who are making the breads. That is called supplier. When we comes to factory, factory manufactures the things. It produces the food products, it produces the iron, it produces the cement, anything. That is a factory. It produces chemicals. Then that factory output or the finished goods or the finished product is provided to distribution network. Distributors, distribution networks, correct? These distribution network supply the finished good to the retail shops across the country, across the region. And from the retail shops, the product reaches to the customer. So this is the process of how the raw material is converted to a finished good and reaching in the hands of customer. This is called basically a process of raw material to finished good to the customer. This process can be tweaked in many ways, which we are going to see in the coming session. But the basic concepts remain same. But is it supply chain management? So we will see more clearly. But this is first, let's understand very basics of how a raw material is converted to a finished good and finished good reaches to a customer. We can see another picture on the screen right now, which indicates something. And what is that indication? If you can see a couple of days word you are seeing, correct? Meaning is, this is the manufacturing premises, for example. Okay. From where the finished goods is sent by road in trucks, containers, and it reaches to the port. Okay. It reaches to the port. And from the port, it is being sent to where? It is being sent to the destination country, or the maybe the if it is a water highways in the country, within the country, then in that scenario another part of the country, or from one country to another country, and then it is there and it reaches to the customs, to receiving port, where the custom clearances and all are done for that product if it is another country, and then it travels by road in that destination country. It takes almost 3 days and it arrives to the either to directly to the customer or to the local distribution houses or local distribution retail counters. This was just to indicate you a timeline concept of outbound logistics. Means the finished good is traveling to the distribution network. Supply chain management is the centralized management of the flow of goods and services, and includes all processes that transform raw materials into final products. The previous 2 slides was just to make you understand a pictorial view of supply chain management, so that this particular definition can easily flow in your concept. It's a centralized management, always remember. It is not between the 2 locations, raw material to the supplier or supplier to the manufacturing premises. No, the supply chain management is a total integrated management, total centralized management. It starts from raw material until the finished good is reached in the hands of customer. So this management takes care, SCM takes care of all the processes involved from raw material to final product. By managing the supply chain, companies can cut excess cost and deliver products to the consumer faster and more efficiently. I would like to give an example at this point of time that, say for example, you are a manufacturing premises and your basic skills to manufacture, but your forte is not logistics. Okay. So what you do under the umbrella of supply chain management, you take an agency who are master in their field of logistics and tell them, look, you have to collect the product from my premises, finished good. You have to give it to the distributors and the local retail shops in the town and in another region, maybe another state, maybe. And your delivery time is only 1 day or maybe 1.5 days. So you are negotiating your distribution terms and conditions with another agency who is master in logistics, who are high degree of professionalism involved, because it's their business. The way you have your business of manufacturing, they have their business of distribution and logistic network. And then in that scenario, you can negotiate the better price and better schedule of deliveries. And at the same time, you are able to focus your time on your manufacturing. You are not getting involved into supply chain logistic part of it. So this is how you can reduce your cost also. And you become more efficient. Previously, you could able to send your product in 4 days, but by adopting these practices, adopting specialized services available under the umbrella of supply chain, by the third party service you are taking it, you are able to deliver your product in 2 days. Definitely, efforts made for 4 days by you will cost you definitely more. Whereas if you are getting it done in 2 days, the efforts cost will be less, and probably you will be getting it more cheaper price, more faster and more efficiently. So this is how the basics of supply chains, we'll keep continue discussing on that. So this is how the basics of supply chain helps out. Now, we are still discussing the basics, okay? Basic concept, we'll keep doing that. Now, from the commerce point of view, supply chain management is the management of flow of goods and services between business and locations, okay? This can include the movement and storage of raw material, work in progress inventory, finished goods, and end-to-end order fulfillment from the point of origin to the point of consumption. Whatever we have seen here, the movement of goods, storage of raw material, work in inventory, that is broadly covered under the umbrella of logistic management, which is another part of supply chain management. But when you look from the commerce point of view, supply chain management adds more value to it. Supply chain management includes even the forecast to this goods movement, the demand forecast, distribution forecast, raw material production forecast, everything is included there, which we'll see from the coming slides, not specifically mentioned here, but even it includes something extra other than just the movement or the logistics of the goods. At the most fundamental levels, if you understand supply chain management, is a flow of goods, data, and finances. See, the goods moves in one direction from raw material to the customer, correct? And at the same time, at every location, you are generating some data, some information you are generating. That raw material production this time was delayed by 10 days, one information generated. Or raw material this time has been produced early. We got our raw material desired quantity 3 days in advance. One more information data is generated. So in supply chain management, when the goods moves, that is the thing which are visible to you. But there are things which are not visible to you, but which are very critical to understand whole supply chain management is. We are getting a real-time information of each and every movement of each and every component of supply chain. It could be production delays. So your normal production for 1 ton is normally 1 day, but in last 1 month, you are producing 1.5 tons per day. Correct? So your productivity has increased. Or so you got a new information. And as soon as you get this new information, your down the line supply chain has to be tuned for that. Even upstream supply chain, that means the movement of raw material should be increased in this scenario. So this is called the data. Data is nothing but digital data, information. which makes supply chain more intelligent, more reliable, get more backup for supply chain to take better decisions. And finances for sure. Everything, when the goods are moving, finances are moving in other directions. Correct? So the good movement and the finance movement is in opposite to each other. Okay. So finance related to products or services, correct? So this is how in the most fundamental definition of supply chain management, these three parameters are very important: goods movement, data movements, and finance movements. What are the basic objective of supply chain management? Why we in fact need to understand supply chain management, correct? So what is the objective to bring the concept of supply chain management in the industries? It improves the efficiency. How it improves the efficiency? See, it improves the efficiency because it is most scientific way of dealing with each component of supply chain. You are more intelligent with the data. That's why it could betterly impact your efficiency. But that's an objective. Improving quality. Quality need to be improvised. Quality of services, quality of storage, quality of production, that need to be improvised. Otherwise, why we should even talk about supply chain management? Optimizing transportation and logistics, that is very important. One of the examples right now, India is trying to improvise the transport and logistic cost, which is almost coming 14% right now. And the global average for transport and logistics is around 8%. Okay, I'm talking of within the country. Okay, so India is trying by improvising its infrastructure, it's improvising its taxation systems, okay, already which has been actioned. So accordingly, the efforts are being made, loading, unloading, delays, okay, good infrastructure, good roads, correct? So reduce the cost of transportation and logistics. See, to be very honest with you, the money what we invest in logistics transport is compulsion, because if the same product is manufactured in your own city, you can go and you can buy it. So in other terms, it is an extra financial burden in the product life cycle. So it should be optimized as much as possible so that you are able to sustain your price curve. Reducing cost, yes, we take anything, always the concept is reducing the cost. Enhancing customer satisfaction. Your customers start getting now the things much in advance. Previously, it was supply was once in a week, once in a month. Now the supply is every second day. Customer satisfaction. So the feeling of fresh, recently produced always remains with customer. Improvising distribution. Yes, it should be very efficient distribution. How you improvise your distribution? Very simple. You know all the connectivities. You know the loads of connectivity path. So you are sharing the logistics. You are not waiting for next logistic to start to deliver your products. You know, optimized logistics will support you to have an improving distribution of your product across the region and across the state. Maintaining better coordination. That is very important, because best coordination is the key of supply chain management. The best coordination generates the best data, best real-time information. Wherever there is an internet of things are there, where the automatic data are generated, that is fine. But at the same time, still human and machine interfaces need a better coordination, and human to human coordination, human to machine coordination is very essentially required, so that you get a real-time information to avoid any kind of disruption in supply chain management or in the product supply. So these are the very fundamental objectives of supply chain management. Just to recap you the supply chain management again in the pictorial form: sourcing raw material, then manufacturing and delivering to the customer. What are the key elements of supply chain management? Okay, what are the key elements? The key elements of supply chain management are planning, sourcing, raw material, manufacturing, delivery, and returns. Without plan, there is always a more risk of failure of processes. You remember during the our project management sessions, when we discussed about the planning, so there was one statistics I have shared with you. 1 minute of planning could save 10 minutes of effort. So in this case also, the planning is the complete realization of your strategy, business strategy. But once the plan is concrete, plan is real time, plan is dynamic, it can adjust your dynamic conditions, then the physical activities remains sourcing, raw material, manufacturing, delivery, and return. They all follow the aspects mentioned in the plan. So that's why planning is very essential, and the sourcing, raw material, manufacturing, delivery, and returns then follows the plans. Integration, operations, purchasing, and distribution. If I can say integration, purchasing, operations, and distribution, that is also correct sequentially, are the key elements of supply chain that work together to establish a path to competition that is both cost effective and competitive. The concept of supply chain management is not only to do a good deliveries or a good planning of production and delivery to customer. No, in the competitive world, you need to be you already have inbuilt competition in the system with your competitors. So in the competitive words, your supply chain is aiming with an objective to have a cost reduction, optimize cost effectiveness. So these key elements make sure that all the acts are very cost effective, they meet the business strategy, all the errors, duplications, double dipping are eliminated. So each activity of a process, as we discussed during project management, the concept remains same. When you make a work breakdown structure, in the work breakdown structure is a structure which includes all the activities to be done with our different steps. And in that, the smallest unit is work package. That means the package you can independently do. But that work package also further distributed to the activities. Each activity is an independent activity and required to done with another activity in parallel, or to be done to have next activity in sequence. You want to drink the water, that means you have to open your bottle. Before that, you should have a water bottle with you. So without water bottle, you cannot drink the water. So these are the sequence of activities. So similarly, the most important thing is that any activity or the cost effectiveness is applied on each activity. And then it makes the total umbrella of supply chain management or that complete process most cost effective. So that's why integration, operation, purchasing, and distribution, when they are followed through a work breakdown structure and activity-based structure, it gives a most cost-effective paradigm of the supply chain management. And ultimately, it saves the money. We know that world is one, okay? So the concept of globalization is also same in case of supply chain management. Now, majority of the large scale companies, they are operating at the international scale. So previously then when they were operating within one country, they were operating in the states, and there was a state collaboration from one state to another state, manufacturing in one state, distributing to another state, correct? But at the same time, now the country has become the globe and the states have become the country. So the international scale of operations are making the complete scenario change. Big logistics supports, big supply chain management forecast, correct? So this is an opportunity where the business becomes global. And to manage this global networking of businesses, you need an effective supply chain management for across the globe concept, wherein only logistics is not sufficient, only transportation is not sufficient. The trends of one country, the consumption pattern of one country may be different than other countries. So supply chain management even deals with the forecasts which are imbibed in your management plan for supply chain. So this is how, when you are getting into the global scale, it's more variety is added, more variations are added into the understanding and distribution network. So this is how the globalization of supply chain management or the supply chain management support in globalization to the companies is of great discussion and of great and deep understanding. And they are already using the global supply chain management concept, digital supply chain management concept by many of the large companies across the world. A more pictorial view, because I prefer in the beginning to talk more about the different pictures as we grow with our discussions. So we discuss more about each and every aspect of the supply chain management. This is more exploded view of our block flow diagram, okay? And you can see here that there are, in one scenario, you can see there are a couple of suppliers are there. You can see the square, blue square. Okay. And then you can see that there is a line in the center, dotted line, which is separating the complete manufacturing, and to the other side is a complete distribution cycle. And what is that exactly? If you see during the this manufacturing side of this picture, you have a suppliers, okay, you have manufacturing, you have sales headquarters, okay, just at the edge in the center green square you can see sales headquarters, correct? So the suppliers are supplying, the manufacturing is happening, okay, there's a big manufacturing hub, it could be one or it could be more than that, correct? Or there could be a small manufacturing hubs also. You can see there are small manufacturing hubs. You can see here, for example, these are the suppliers, these are the small manufacturing hubs, correct? Okay, so the company may be manufacturing, company has to make a product C. So for that product C, company need component A, component B. So, but that component A also need to be manufactured. For example, an automobile industry, correct? So if this is a manufacturing headquarter and where you make a four-wheeler, but for this four-wheeler, you have thousands of ancillaries. Somebody makes tire, somebody makes steering wheel, somebody makes glass. So say this is a glass factory. So for this is a glass factory, you have these suppliers who are supplying the raw material for making the glass. And they are making glass. Now glass goes to the headquarter. Similarly, wheels, tires, okay? It is made by some other factory, at some other factory. This is moving to headquarters, correct? There are some suppliers who can manufacture the main product also, as well as they are a raw material supplier also. So the point here, what I'm trying to make a point, that you have a distributed manufacturing premises, okay? And then you have a headquarter for manufacturing premises from where you are getting the finished goods. And then the sales headquarter is responsible for that distribution of that goods to different branches, okay? So now right-hand side belongs to the distribution side of it. You can see the trucks moving, they are moving to the different distribution branches, then it goes to stores, and from stores, it goes to the customer. So the second portion, the second half of the picture is the demand side of supply chain, whereas the left-hand side is the supply side of supply chain. So supply one side, demand one side. In another way, to meet supply, you have to manufacture. So supply and manufacture are one side. To meet demand, you have to do distribution, you have to supply, correct? So you have to distribute the product. So demand and distribution is on one side. So this is how another typical block flow of supply chain is there for our understanding. Now, what are the steps in supply chain management, for example? So the most important thing or the steps of supply chain management, you can say, the planning. Remember, we just discussed in previous slides, the key elements, correct? So, but this planning is not only like it's an overall plan. It could be a supply plan, production plan, inventory plan, capacity plan, distribution plan, complete planning. Procurement is the next step of supply chain management. Production and manufacturing is another step where manufacturing. Inventory management, this is one of the things. Like for example, in Japan, just-in-time concept is there, correct? That means when you want to manufacture the products, okay, so all the raw material required or the ancillaries product required, okay, components are required for manufacturing, that reaches to you. If suppose this, you have a production plan for today, so you will be having that on board with you today morning. So it is being ensured that the inventories do not lies on the shelf. So that is called inventory management. Or in other way, if I want to say, you should have a zero inventory. The concept of inventory management is that the processes, inventory management is there to support the production, manufacturing, distribution. But at the same time, the whole processes are aimed in such a way that the dead inventory or the inventory on the shelf is zero. Warehouses to store the raw material or to store the product, that is very important. Logistics and transport. Yes, we know goods movements are essential for that. And the customer services, because it's not only selling the products, how your supply chain include after sale services, that is also very important from supply chain management point of view. Because when you are connected to your customers, you are getting the real-time data about your products, your experiences. You can forecast your demand accordingly. Based on that, you are connected to your customers, you are connected to your distributors, you are connected to your retail distributors in the market. So that's why the customer service is also an integral part of or steps of the supply chain management. We already discussed this. It's a centralized control, centralized management concept. And the aim is, objective is, or the goal is to have an improvised efficiency and by coordinating the efforts of various entities in supply chain. That is also very important. It ensures there are coordinated efforts are moving in the direction which ensures timely delivery of the products to the customer. Supply chain is used in all these industries, by the way. It could be a farming, refining, design or manufacturing, packaging, transportation, all these are examples of supply chain. Now the concept comes that how the supply chain management operates. It operates at strategic level and the tactical level and the operational levels. Strategy is something known. Okay, strategy is something known. Means you have a strategic plan and you are applying that strategic plan. You have an operational strategy, you have an operational requirement and you are operating at the operational requirements. Okay, raw material collection, production, everything, correct? And these are going as per the strategy. But any change happens to this at any point of time, one key element, whether it is a raw material supply or the manufacturing or the distribution network, if they differ, if they change their path or there is a deviation is observed, at that time, tactical strategy, tactical thing is very important, because the tactical is when the strategy is observed to be at departure during execution, you have to use the tactics or you have to use the tactical approach to correct or to mitigate that deviation to the strategies. So that's why the supply chain management is very essentially required to operate at strategic level, tactical level, and operational level. The characteristics of good supply chain. What is good supply chain? They should be visible. We should not say a very simple thing. If the raw material is on the street, on the reels, okay, and it is not yet reached to the manufacturing premises, we should know where it is. The scheduled delivery was today 12 o'clock, 12 noon. But already it's 4 p.m. material has not been received and you don't know the reason. No, that is not the good supply chain. Things should be clearly visible. Even if goods are reaching at 10 a.m. in the morning before ahead of schedule, or the goods are delayed. We should know the reasons. We should know the exact location of your raw material availability right now. And we should know the exact details when the job will be completed, if there is a departure from the scheduled things. It could be an early or it could be a delayed. So the visibility is very important. And this was just one example I gave. But not only that visibility, the visibility in the futuristic approach also. Means you should know when the winter season comes, how the summer clothing's demand curve will be dropping when winter is nearing to us, and how the demand curve of winter clothing is going to increase. Winter has arrived and you have not started even manufacturing to the right capacity the winter clothes. So that is not a good supply chain. So there is a clear-cut visibility or the understanding of the market. It is not in today's scenario. It is with a futuristic approach, forecasting methodology also. And optimization, yes. Optimization is a very essential component of any business modules, including supply chain management, which says, do not waste or do not burn a single cent. Do not burn a single unit of currency, the lowest currency unit. Use it, create a value out of it. So supply chain management helps in avoiding, reducing the waste as much as possible. That could be a currency loss, it could be a rupee loss, it could be a dollar loss, it could be a time loss, anything. So that has an optimized approach of supply chain management. Timeliness and consistency. Today we did a good job. It does not mean that we are good forever. So from there, the concept of sustainability comes. A good supply chain is focusing on the long-term plan, long-term sustainability, so that you can create your brand image in the market by doing a great job over a long span of time. Consistency. So these are the basic things are there. Another pictorial representation. So there are two things are there in supply chain management. One is called inbound and one is called outbound. As we discussed and seen in the before slide picture, and we saw that there is a supply side and there's a demand side. So you can see raw material with the help of inbound logistic is going to goods to storage, correct? Okay. Then, and this is a procurement cycle with the help of inbound logistics. This is completely procurement cycle. That goods in storage is given to manufacturer. Manufacturer produces the product. He sends it to outbound warehouse. Now product is ready to outbound. It is in the outbound scale now. And then with the help of outbound logistics, it reaches to the consumer. So see, the first is a procurement management, and you can see the second is an operation management also. This slide giving you an idea of inbound logistics. That means raw material reaching to the manufacturing premises. Manufacturing premises, finished good is reaching to consumer is called outbound logistics or outbound activities. And from manufacturing to consumer is an operation management, and up to raw material to the manufacturing premises is a procurement management. So you can see how this supply chain management, inbound logistics indicates logistic management. So it is a mix of all. It's a combination of all. And still, extra thing is not shown in this diagram, which we'll see in some other diagram when it's going to come. Artificial intelligence will be added to this forum here. Just try to see, okay, how the coffee beans, just it is available in the internet also, this information. Starbucks supply chain model, correct? For example, just an example to study. Coffee beans are there, then there are sources there, then you have to prepare something, correct? Remember that I was giving an example of the car manufacturing. So the tire and glass is made somewhere else. So there could be a component manufacturing, or there could be a step processing. Means before making something, you do something, correct? Before making the final goods. So the coffee is not made in the farms. Coffee is made where? At the coffee centers, correct? But the roasting center will convert the coffee beans to the roasted coffee beans, okay? And this will be distributed to regional distribution centers. From regional distribution centers, it will be going to central distribution center, and from there it will be going to stores. And the dairy consumer products and standard furnitures for the stores, everything will be distributed accordingly. So the question here is, this is a very good example where the whole cycle of coffee beans up to store, you are planning everything. You have the delivery centers also, delivery cycle also, which is flowing from the roasted centers or coffee beans to the roasting centers, from roasting center to ultimately up to stores. So there is a delivery cycle also available in that. So these are all the very, very basic and simple examples so that you absorb supply chain management of each angle of supply chain management. In just one slide before, we were discussing about supply chain sustainability. Supply chain supports sustainability of business. And that's why it requires some responsibilities to carry on. And what are those responsibilities? Social responsibilities, environmental responsibilities, and financial responsibilities. And companies' efforts to consider the environmental and human impact of their product journey through the supply chain, from raw material sourcing to production, storage, delivery, and every transport link in between. Your supply chain should ensure that the company should be in a financial stable condition. Cash flows are maintained. Financial losses are avoided by avoiding the wastages. Making the cash flow in time, that is one aspect of it. And cash flow means across the supply chain. That means giving the payments in time to the manufacturer, who's your raw material supplier, and taking your payments back, collecting the cost, okay? Collecting the payments in time from the distribution networks, from the distributors, and from the customers. And at the same time, you are not impacting environment. Your products are safe to use. Your operations are safe to environment. Your storages are no issues. They are safe. And your product is ensuring the positive social impact. So these three aspects, when you are financially stable, when you are addressing financial issues, when your stability is there from financial point of view, and with a long horizon, okay, you are ensuring that your debt levels are not increasing, okay, your credits are not very high level, your environment is good, your environmental impact is nothing or not at risk anymore. Socially, your product is accepted and you don't find any statutory requirements, non-compliances for social and environmental aspect. So accordingly, the concept of sustainability is supported in supply chain. And these are the three critical points of supply chain from sustainability point of view. What are the benefits we get out of the supply chain management? It's important benefits. If you look at in this picture right now, you will see that many aspects are there around supply chain management. It's a procurement, it's an inventory control, it's a logistic, product lifecycle management, preferential pricing and lead times, demand management, vertically integrated partnerships, correct? These are all aspects which we are able to see. And they all are impacted, by the way, but with the presence of supply chain management, everything is collaborative. So by the help of supply chain management, you can see there's a better collaboration with suppliers. You have the real-time information because of your forecasting methodology. And because of that, you are able to have the better collaboration with suppliers. Your supplier knows your demands exactly. You are able to make your supplier with a clear terms and conditions with a demand curve, so that your supplier is also not procuring the material in advance for you. Or if you need extra material, you are in a better collaboration, better communication with him. He is able to supply your fluctuation, your market fluctuation. So basically, the better collaboration with supplier ensures you that you are able to transfer your supplier the right information of demand curve fluctuation in the market, and which is in turn impacting your manufacturing production lane tweaking, or whether it could be plus, it could be minus, but you are tweaking your manufacturing. You are increasing your production or you are reducing your production. So when you are increasing, you need more supply of material, and when you are reducing, you require less supply. So this real-time information in time, you are able to communicate to supplier. So supplier is not buffering anything extra. He is not bearing the inventory cost, additional inventory cost because of your demand fluctuations. So that is why supply chain management creates we said supply chain management is a visible thing, should be. So that visibility makes the effective collaboration with suppliers. Better quality control. Now, how the supply chain is impacting quality? Correct? See, supply chain do not go and test any product. Let me tell you very clearly. But supply chain is getting the real-time data. The quality of your product, quality of your raw material, you are getting the information. And supply chain is generating an alarm to the supplier. Look, your quality of this lot is X, which is not good as compared to the previous quality or as per the standard quality. Check and look your supplies. So that alarm goes to the supplier, and because you're already in the collaboration, you're passing on the real-time information to him. So the manufacturer told that the product what you got is this time is having a little minus quality, or it has a slight departure from the standard quality parameters. Still it is within the limit, but still it is on the negative side of it. That information is eventually passed on to the supplier. So, and supplier has been asked to check the quality to ensure the quality is delivered correctly. Supplier checks and supplier says, no, my product is of the same quality which I supplied to you the previous lot. Then it goes to logistics, whether there was some issue with logistics. And then the logistic containers have been checked. and found that the logistic containers have added some quality deterioration of raw material. So then accordingly, logistics have been instructed to maintain their container quality and container ambience. So this is how the whole process, this was only towards the inbound logistics, procurement side. But similarly, it happens with the finished goods. The finished good also should reach to the customer. Suddenly, customers started demanding or raising their voice that the products nowadays, what we are getting is slightly not the same quality as previously. So that need to be analyzed, and the real-time data has to pass on to the whole overall supply chain network. So let everyone check what's going on and at which point we need an improvement. So this is how the quality control need to be addressed. Shipping optimization. This is very important because the whole network is visible. So you know which route is loaded 100%, which route is loaded 70%, 60%. So can you share the loading? So that is called shipping optimization. And avoiding the logistic expenditure is one of the best way to optimize, to reduce the waste. Reducing inventory and overhead cost. Yes, inventories are reduced because supply chain is open now. You know at what time production things are requiring your product, or at the same time your manufacturers knows that the sales number in the markets are in such a way that your sales have increased right now. So you have to increase your supplies, or if the sales numbers are reducing suddenly in last week, so that means there is a floating inventory in the market. So you have to optimize your manufacturing so that inventories can be reduced. So the meaning is in the whole operation, raw material to the customer at departure at one location from the present business as usual terms is reflected across the whole inventory cycle and across the whole supply chain, and accordingly the things are optimized, whether it is an inventory level or similarly at the overhead cost is automatically reduced because you are avoiding double dipping, you are avoiding storage cost, you are avoiding logistic cost. If the raw material need not to be transported right now, why you should do a logistic for that? Why should create an extra inventory and the overhead cost of logistics upon it? Improved risk mitigation. Before that, I explain risk mitigation. Basically, the benefit of supply chain management is that it allows the sudden shocks to happen anywhere in the disruption shocks happening at any place of the supply chain. Improved risk mitigation. See, in the business, risk exists. You cannot, risk and business, they go together. But only thing is that you can have, because you are more visible about the market conditions, you can have the improvised risk mitigation factors. You can handle your risk in the better way. Stronger cash flows, yes. More agile business, yes. Better visibility and data analytics. More agile business. Okay. So the more agile business in the sales means because of more visibility, you have an opportunity, you have a clear opportunity to address the small deliveries and the small corrections accordingly. So there is an agile approach. And the cash flow. Because we are able to do better coordination. And as I said, goods moves in one direction and the cash moves in the other direction, opposite to it. And both require equilibrium so that neither goods movement is stopped and cash flow should not be stopped. So with this, we'll conclude our session 1, and we will discuss more about supply chain management. Today's session was to just give a glimpse of supply chain management and an outlook of supply chain management. That's why my presentation was with more pictures today, more photographs, giving you the pictorial concept of supply chain management, because this is going to be, supply chain management is a future in industry. It is one of the prominent branch in the management field, which will be leading us in the coming century to a great extent and to great expectations of GDP growth across the world.